A lovely good morning. It is yet another interesting Thursday edition of the Camnet Breakfast Show. Today, being the 20th of July 2023. Interesting developments happening. Of course, the FIFA World Cup for women starting today. And a little later, we'll be talking about that also. I'm Patrick Soko, your usual host, and I'm not alone in studio. I'm with my colleague, Marco Kwakozi. Morning.
Good morning, thanks.
How is it going?
Not bad. We are having a great time, and the weather is a little bit fair this week. And I'm glad that you have not mentioned the kick off the FIFA Women's World Cup in New Zealand and Australia. Breaking news, there was a shooting in New Zealand. 3 people were killed, 6 were injured, but FIFA says everything is going as planned. The shooting incident did not affect anything footballically, if there's such a word. So security authorities are saying everything is okay.
Interesting. We'll be looking at that in detail. But first of all, we have to get started with the Off Corner with Dr. Mufaya. Stay tuned.
Hi, and welcome to the Health Corner here on the Breakfast Show. I am Dr. Nakubia Namfaya. So this week we are talking about a condition that we call breast cancer, and we have defined what breast cancer is. We said breast cancer is the cancer that occurs in the breast and usually affects both men and women. And when men have breast cancer, it's more fatal than it is in women. And then we also talked about some of the signs and symptoms, and we say that when you see any changes in the breast, such as one breast being bigger than the other breast, or feeling a mass or a lump in the breast, or if you notice any change in the skin on the breast or in the nipple, if there's any discharge in the nipple, then you'll be able to seek medical attention to be able to check if you have breast cancer. So today I want to know what exactly is done in the hospital, or how is it diagnosed in the hospital, and what is the treatment options for breast cancer. So the diagnosis of breast cancer is made usually on clinical exam. So you first have to examine the patient. So the doctor has to check exactly where the mass is, how big is the mass, and just to check if there's any discharge and any discoloration, and just how it looks like. The other thing that can be done is an ultrasound. Most people would be sent to do an ultrasound to be able to check exactly how the mass looks inside. The other thing that can be done is an MRI to be able to check how the mass is related to other structures in the body. Then usually they would also request for a core needle biopsy, which is a biopsy where a sample is taken from the mass and then it is sent to the lab to be able to get it tested to check what type of cells are in that mass and are they cancerous or not, because sometimes you might just be having a mass in the breast and it's not a cancer. So you might have a benign tumor or a benign mass which is not cancerous in the breast, and so they will need to take a sample to be able to check if it has cancer cells or is it cancerous or not. So these are some of the tests that can be done in the hospital to be able to assess whether you have breast cancer or not. The other thing is that you'll be able to do other tests as well, just to check if there's any metastasis to other organs, if other body parts are affected by the breast cancer in your breast. So how is breast cancer treated? What are some of the other options? What are the options of breast cancer treatment? Now, there are so many ways of treating breast cancer, and depending on your age, depending on the stage of the breast cancer, they would recommend a certain type of treatment to you. But normally the treatment options are that you can do radiotherapy, where you are exposed to radiation to be able to cure those cancer cells or to kill the cancer cells. The other thing is chemotherapy, which they give you some medications that will be able to kill the cancer cells and to shrink the tumor. The other thing that can be given is hormonal therapy, where you are given some hormones that can be able to shrink the tumor as well and to also reduce the risk of it growing bigger in size. There are other medications as well that are given that are not really chemotherapy or hormone therapy, but they're just some medications that are used for the treatment of breast cancer. The other treatment option is to do an operation, and of course usually the operation would be the end stage. So if you have a breast cancer and you are asked to do a chemo or a radiotherapy, it does not mean that you will not need an operation, because if the tumor is shrunken in size, then they can decide now to operate on it and remove it. So treatment options, these are some of the treatment options for breast cancer, and it will be good to be able to know some of these things so that if you or your loved ones ever have this condition, you'll be able to ask your doctors or your caregivers to explain to you what exactly is happening and how the treatment of the patient that you are taking care of. So these are some of the ways that you can diagnose breast cancer in the hospital. So today we're talking about diagnosis and treatment, and we say that breast cancer can be diagnosed in the hospital by clinical examination, doing an ultrasound, doing an MRI, and most importantly doing a needle biopsy, where a sample is taken and it's taken to the lab to check if there are any cancer cells. And also we say that treatment includes hormone therapy, chemotherapy, and even radiation therapy, and also surgery as well. So I do hope you have learned something, and make sure you watch again tomorrow, where we'll be talking about how you can prevent yourself from having breast cancer. What are some of the things that you can do to prevent yourself from getting breast cancer? Because yes, you can do certain things at home, and also we want to know exactly how is it that we can take care of our breasts at home. So make sure you watch tomorrow's episode, where we'll be talking about prevention of breast cancer. And if you missed anything here on The Breakfast Show, make sure you watch my YouTube channel, where I post all these videos, and you'll be able to know exactly what you have missed in the past. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow.
Welcome back. You are watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and we were looking at our first segment, which is the health corner with Dr. Mufaya. And interesting there, I hope you managed to learn one or two things pertaining to breast cancer. And interesting enough, we have to go to our next segment, where we have to know how the kwacha is performing against other major convertibles. So now the kwacha against one British pound is buying at 24 kwacha 4 ngwe and selling at 24 kwacha 9 ngwe. The euro is buying at 21 kwacha 2 ngwe and selling at 21 kwacha 6 ngwe. And the South African rand is buying at 1 kwacha 06 ngwe and selling at 1 kwacha 08 ngwe. And $1 US against 1 kwacha is buying at 18 kwacha 93 ngwe and selling at 19 kwacha 30 ngwe. And these updates were made around 0706 today being the 20th of July. And interesting enough, we are seeing that the kwacha has continued on negative trajectory there. If you see, it is now going towards the 19 kwacha, even on the buying aspect, Cozy. And if we do not arrest this, it will continue to escalate, and it may worsen, especially as things as we go towards the monthly review of fuel prices. We are going to also see an increase in terms of the price of fuel. So that's how the kwacha has been performing. And in case you want to change your dollars, that's how we were trading. And we also had a cautionary advice from the Drug Enforcement Commission to the citizens and the business community in general, COSI, where they were warning people that in the market there's a circulation of fake United States dollars.
Amounting to about 2 billion.
Yes, and they made some arrests of the people behind this act. And that, however, these dollars are nearly undetectable.
Sure.
You cannot even determine if at all they are fake. So you have to be careful. And the commission was actually advising that the most ideal thing to do is to change your money using registered entities and not per street, because at the end of the day you may end up losing your earning. I'm preview that, for example, we have a lot of women who come from the neighboring Zimbabwe, who come for businesses here in Lusaka, especially at the Kamwala market. And Komesa, they most change their money from these street guys. So it is always a risk. So for now, we can only advise them to make sure that they trade using recognized institutions such as the banks as well as bureaus. That will be very vital for them to secure their money. Otherwise, you may end up losing your money, and that's the capital that you have, and that's your source of livelihood. So to make sure that you protect yourself, make sure that you just do the right thing.
We do also have people that like to keep the dollar and wait for it to gain a little bit. Like we have seen, it is going up now, it's going towards 19, is it? You keep it when it goes 20, 21, then you change it into kwacha, then you have a lot of money. So you could be, unfortunately, keeping a fake dollar, and the time you want to go and change it, you find all this money is fake. So
exactly,
we really need to be careful when it comes to the dollar. Dick warned about possible fake counterfeit dollar in the circulation, and it could amount to about somewhere around 2 billion United States dollars. So that's quite a lot of money. So be very, very careful with that particular one. Patrick.
Yes, we now have to look at the World Cup. Let's just get to unpack the fixtures. Let's just look at the fixtures, and so that we can also get to know when are the Copper Queens playing, so that we make sure that we get you updated, so that you could be in a position to be able to catch the matches. It is an interesting World Cup for women, and Cozy, we are happy as a country because we will be participating in the World Cup for the first time. You know, what the men national team failed to do, the women's national team managed to do.
Has done it.
Yes.
So interesting enough, the Copper Queens are in New Zealand and will be participating in the women's FIFA Women's World Cup that is taking place in New Zealand. It kicks off today, New Zealand and Australia. It kicks off today, and Australia is taking on Ireland in the first game. Now, one interesting thing about this particular World Cup is the timings. So,
okay.
In the time difference between Australia and here is a little bit weird. So games will be played in the morning, as you can see the fixtures there. Today at 9 hours, New Zealand will be playing Norway. At 12 hours, Australia will be playing Republic of Ireland, and Nigeria tomorrow will play Canada at 04:30, and that's Zambian time, yeah. And Philippines will be playing Switzerland at 7 hours. So
these are tricky fixtures.
Yes, the fixtures are
tomorrow. Also, we have Spain up against Costa Rica.
Now that's the group in which Zambia is. The group comprising Spain, Costa Rica, Zambia, and of course Japan. So games in our group start tomorrow at 9:30 hours. Costa Rica will be playing Spain, and on Saturday, Vietnam versus United States. This is one of the favorite teams, the best ranked team in the world, USA.
Okay.
So they'll be taking on Vietnam. Zambia will be taking on Japan at exactly 9 hours in the morning. We should be at church by then, but the game will be on.
You who are seventh day, you will be at church.
People will be at church. The game will be played like today. We are at the office. The game will be played between Australia and is it Ireland? Saturday again.
England.
11:30. England will be playing Haiti. England, another favourite to win the tournament, have quite a strong team there. China and Denmark will be playing at least this one, 14 hours p.m. Sweden is another strong team. Will be playing South Africa at 7 hours on Sunday, the 23rd. Sunday again, the 23rd at 9:30. Netherlands will be playing Portugal. Netherlands, another favourite there. France and Jamaica will play on the 23rd at 12 hours. France, another interesting team. They lost one of their strikers in the name of Katoto, got injured in the previous friendly before, in the last friendly before they travelled. Argentina and Italy also will be taking to the field on Monday at 8 hours. Germany and Morocco will be squaring off on Monday again at 10:30. Remember Germany, we played them the last friendly game.
Japan. They are playing against our relatives of Africa.
Yes, and I think that is why Germany picked Zambia for a friendly, because they knew they had an African team in their group. Brazil will be playing Panama. Brazil also is a very, very good side that you have a team to watch. Colombia will be playing South Korea. South Korea is a team that played Zambia in the friendlies build-up to the World Cup. New Zealand will be playing Philippines, Switzerland. Now these are second rounds from
second round.
Tuesday the 25th. We'll have a second round will begin.
So let's look at the next match. Will be Zambia. Zambia's next match will be.
Okay, so Zambia's next match should be Spain on the 26th or there it is, Spain versus Zambia on the 26th. Spain is another strong team in women's football, but we are lucky that we do have Kondananji and Grace Chandler that play in Spain. They have an idea of Spanish football. Costa Rica will be playing Japan on the same day at 07 hours. The Zambia-Spain will be at 9:30. And then Canada will be playing Republic of Ireland at 14 hours. 14 hours games are a little bit fair.
Yeah, they are a little bit manageable. We can watch those.
Sure.
Yes, so we can watch those. At least you can say, okay, during lunchtime, let's relax a bit. A 9 hours one is tricky. This is when the work is at the peak.
Yes, at peak. So it's difficult. But anyways.
You can imagine 07 hours when we are almost
on your way to the office.
To the office, yeah. Yeah, so I think those are your fixtures, and Chipolopolo will be starting the tournament on Saturday.
Yes.
And we just hope that they will do as they have continued to do, and how they performed during the Africa Cup, and how they played against Germany in that friendly.
Well, they seem motivated. We have seen quite a number of videos that are coming through from New Zealand. Fast Media doing a very good job to show us what is happening with the Copper Queens, and they seem motivated. Just earlier this week, they were speaking to the president via Google Meets, and they look like they are ready to go.
Interesting. So we just hope they do not disappoint. Now let's get looking into some of the stories that are making the headlines this morning, and we start with a story that is a follow-up pertaining to street vending. Now, the joint operation involving the Lusaka, the Zambia Police and the Lusaka City Council entered day 2, and a check by Camnet News Wednesday morning found council workers cleaning the streets as police and council officers kept watch. And in a proponent of the Make Zambia Clean campaign, Mwewa Chitambala, has called on the government to task the council police to patrol the streets to avoid the resurgence of street vending. Meanwhile, later in the day, we saw Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development Permanent Secretary Technical Services Nicholas Piri directing the council to improve sanitation services at the markets. that now that especially that the markets will be fully occupied by traders, the PS is calling for improved sanitary conditions there. So let's get to look this story, and we'll look at this story back to back with another story where an opposition leader who is Cha-Cha-Cha leader Eric Chanda says that it is irresponsible for the government to take a punitive action against vendors by chasing them from the streets when it has failed to allocate them trading spaces. So let's get to look at these two stories. We'll be back shortly.
Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, Permanent Secretary Technical Services, Nicholas Pidi, is saddened with poor sanitation at Lusaka City Market and Matero markets characterized with broken taps and toilets. Speaking Wednesday when he toured the two facilities, Mr. Pidi says markets should be habitable as government is pushing for vendors to occupy them.
Buy into the vision of central government. We can't be pulling in two different directions. We are saying let's have proper sanitation, water and garbage collection in the markets. That is a police directive. And then you, the operatives, are doing something completely different. How can that be?
He has since warned that non-performing council officers will be punished severely, including dismissals.
No cadarism in the markets and bus stations. Water and sanitation should be provided in every bus station, every market, every public space. Those that are responsible for running day-to-day operations of running these facilities, if they are not complying with that police directive, then sanctions will follow, including disciplinary measures, including loss of employment.
And director spokesperson in the Ministry of Media and Information, Tabo Kawana, has cautioned against politicizing the issue of street vending.
That kind of attitude of I'm appealing, it won't work. It will not work to have political blackmail and say, no, if you take us out the streets and into the market by doing the right thing, we will not vote for you. We had people that kept people on the streets. Did they win? No. This is safe for all of us. Whether you are on the street and the one who's in the market, all of us vote.
Some members of the public have since welcomed government's move to remove the street vendors from the streets.
It is a very painful move, but at the end of it all, it will pay off. At the end of it all, business will still continue. At the end of it all, an environment, a conducive environment will be created. A decent, orderly, conducive environment will be created by allowing this street vending to go into their designated places.
Meanwhile, street vendors have commenced trooping into markets as they were found registering at City Market and Simpson Mwewa Market.
Here are the empty spaces. Please come and occupy them.
For Camnet News, I am Kaptula Afias in Lusaka.
It is highly irresponsible for any government to take punitive action on the vendors. You chase them out of the streets, knowing too well that as a government, you have not done your part. That is a sign of total failure. Imweba Ministry of Local Government, mwarisenda ma 200 kwacha, ayama vendors, that you are going to give them stands in Simon Mwewa Market. Why are you taking long to open Simon Mwewa Market? I am a son of a marketeer myself. Ninemwanana market. 2 days of not selling at the market means abana kumayanda tabadye. Takwavyo kupereshani echilimba. Ama loan with microfinance institutions will be defaulted, and at the end of the day, our capital will be tampered with. You tell this UPND government that if ever cha, our humble appeal is that you open Simon Mwewa Market so that our vendors can have where to trade from.
So those are some of the stories that we are zooming in this morning. Those stories we're talking about street vending and the removal of the same people from the streets and reactions from other stakeholders. Let's move on Other stories that are coming through, a state witness had told the Lusaka Magistrate Court that the judiciary still has a scanned copy of a file record that is alleged to have been stolen by former State House Press Aide Amos Chanda. Now, Catherine Tembo, a network support staff at Lusaka Magistrate, said she cannot confirm if the file record was stolen because she does not handle the judiciary physical copies. In this case, Mr. Chanda is facing a charge of theft and destroying of evidence. He is alleged to have burnt a court record of the Road Transport and Safety Speed Camera Corruption case, a document in relation to a matter he was facing in 2020. Another story from the courts says Patriotic Front Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda has told the Lusaka High Court that he has not been dodging service of court documents as alleged by PF presidential aspirant Miles Sampa. Mr. Nakachinda submits that it is wrong for Mr. Sampa to assume that he was aware of the injunction that was served against him because he was not part of the matter at the time of service. This is in a matter in which Mr. Sampa, who is also a material area member of parliament, commenced a contempt of court proceedings against 4 senior party officials for allegedly masquerading as PF leaders. Mr. Sampa has told the court that given Luwinda, Nixon Chirangwa, Raphael Nakachinda and Davis Chama have been avoiding the service of court documents. Now, let's have a look at these stories.
Former State House Press Aide Amos Chanda made another appearance before the Lusaka Magistrate Court Wednesday morning in relation to his criminal case. Mr. Chanda, who served during the Patriotic Front administration, is facing allegations of theft and destroying evidence. This morning, 2 prosecution witnesses who work at the subordinate court in Lusaka took the stand to give their testimony. The first witness, Catherine Tembo, a network support staff, has told court that the Lusaka magistrate still has a scanned copy of a file record that is alleged to have been stolen by former State House President Mr. Chanda. She said she cannot confirm if the file record was stolen because she does not handle the judiciary physical copies. Meanwhile, the second state witness, Annie Mwemba, a registrar clerk, has also told court that all files records are kept in a safe place and she is not aware how the said copy would have gone missing. The witness also informed the trial magistrate Irene Wishmanga that she has never at any point seen the accused visit the registry in search of the same record. The prosecution witness explained that all file records of cases are kept in a secure place and no ordinary individual can easily have access to them. This is in a matter in which the Drug Enforcement Commission has alleged that between the 12th of May 2020 and the 1st of October 2022, Mr. Chanda destroyed a court document, a charge which he has denied before the courts of law. He is alleged to have burnt a court record of the Road Transport and Safety Agency speed camera corruption case, a document in relation to a matter he was facing in 2020. Early 2020, Mr. Chanda was arrested by the Drug Enforcement Commission and taken to court on corruption charges allegations, and he was jointly charged with former Rasa boss Zinda Basoko and Walid El Nahas. However, the matter was discontinued by the state through a nolle prosequi. The matter stands adjourned. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News. He has raised an argument before the Lusaka High Court that he was not aware of an injunction that was served against him by Patriotic Front presidential aspirant Miles Sampa. PF Information and Publicity Chairperson Raphael Nakachinda is among the 4 senior officials that Mr. Sampa, who is also Matero Area Member of Parliament, has commenced contempt proceedings before the Lusaka High Court against. The lawmaker cited Mr. Given Lubinda, Nixon Chilangwa, Raphael Nakachinda and Davis Chama. Mr. Sampa commenced contempt of court proceedings against the 4 senior party officials for allegedly masquerading as PF leaders. The lawmakers also contend that the four have been postulating that there's no leadership vacuum in the Patriotic Front, contrary to the reality. According to an affidavit in support of ex-party summons for an order for substituted service, he earlier filed, Mr. Samba told court that attempts to service the four senior party officials proved futile because they were avoiding the service, hence the failure to deliver the summons. However, the party's information and publicity chairperson, Mr. Nakachinda, has refused claims advanced by Mr. Sampa. In a latest submission before court, Mr. Nakachinda claims he has not been dodging service of court documents as alleged by Mr. Sampa. He submits that it is wrong for Mr. Sampa to assume that he was aware of the injunction that was served against him because he was not part of the matter at the time of service. He has since told the Lusaka High Court to dismiss the matter because the allegations raised by Mr. Sampa are irrelevant. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Thank you very much. So those are some of the stories that are making the headlines that we were zooming in this particular morning. Patrick.
Yeah, interesting stories coming from the court, and we'll continue to follow up on those issues. And interesting enough, we also looked at area stories pertaining to street vending. Kozi, I recall that you had a conversation with Mr. Nicholas Piri pertaining to issues of trading spaces, especially in markets.
Sure.
And just a little, there's also an argument that was advanced by Chacha leader, Mr. Eric Chanda. But what was the PS saying on that?
So the PS did indicate that they did have, before that very day, we had some stakeholders said no, the marketeers should have engaged, this process was not consultative and stuff like that. So we posed that particular question, and the PS said no, they did have consultations with various stakeholders, and they did systematically see how they were going to help the street vendors. They did their assessments and everything. He gave us the numbers of the number of street vendors that were vending in Lusaka, and they did an assessment to ascertain the number of market stands that are available in the city of Lusaka. So he says 4,415 street vendors were on the streets in Lusaka, and also that there were a number of 4,985 empty stands in markets around the city of Lusaka. So there was no need for any marketeer to be on the streets because there was enough space for marketeers in the markets dotted around Lusaka. Now he even said that there are marketeers that have left their market stands in the markets to come and trade on the streets. So there is enough space for everybody who is on the streets now in the markets dotted around the city. And he also did mention that there are somewhere around 500 more stands than the vendors, than the marketeers. So he did also mention that there were just some final touches that were being worked on. I did hear the Chacha leader say open Mwewalen market. So he did mention that there were just a few touches that were being worked on that particular market, and it will soon be opened to the traders. So I think that most of the stakeholders that are coming out to condemn this move have always said that there was no alternative to these marketeers. They just chased them from the street. But I think that the PS said there are more market spaces than vendors. So vendors can go into the markets and there can still be an extra of around 500 market stands in markets dotted around the city of Lusaka.
Well, there you have it. So interesting perspective there, Kozi. And we continue to get your views on this matter. It is a continuous issue. And now that the action has been undertaken, what should be done, how to sustain this move, and how can the marketeers or the vendors be safeguarded in the midst of this trying moment for them. So those are issues that we continuously look at, and we want you, our dear viewers, to also give us your perspective on this matter, because at the end of the day, it is about sharing ideas, and divergent views really matter, especially on the Camnet Breakfast Show, so that we can get interacting. During the process of being removed in the streets, what are some of the losses? What are some, have you been given your merchandise? All those things have to be looked at and assessed. So now we are going to look at another interesting story. Then will be it will be the right time for us to usher in our guest of the day, who is going to help us discuss various current affairs and pertaining to issues that border on Petauke Central. And he is the Member of Parliament for that constituency, Mr. J. Banda. For now, let's get to listen to this story where the Community Action Against Corruption (CAC) has called for the enactment of the law that compels political parties to disclose their source of funding as to promote accountability and transparency. So let's look at this story. We'll be back on the other side.
From the high strata of government to the humblest corners of society, corruption has woven its sneaky web, trapping the dreams and aspirations of the innocent. While this is the case, many factors have been linked to the fight against corruption in the country. In the shadow halls of power, deals are alleged to be struck in whispers, wrapped with envelopes full of ill-gotten gains, while some sections of society regard promises of progress and prosperity for the people. Others consider it a mere cover-up. In this regard, Community Action Against Corruption Executive Director Brighton Tembo says there is a need to develop a legal framework that uncovers the source of funding to political parties in the country, either opposition or in power. Mr. Tembo alleges that as a result of not revealing the source of income, some government contracts are sometimes given to questionable people without experience and capacity to undertake such projects, which compromise the capacity of government's fight against corruption and weaken the integrity of government under the adage, scratch my back and I'll scratch yours.
People who fund the political parties, yes, we can have genuine funders, but some, they fund that with an ulterior motive of benefiting once that political party forms government. So we can only appeal to the Zambian parliament to consider enacting a law that will be compelling political parties, both the ruling party and the opposition political parties, to disclose their source of funding. You know, keeping the funding and the funders in secrecy is what creates corruption when opposition political parties form government. Because those people who used to fund the political parties, they have to benefit.
Meanwhile, a political analyst and PhD candidate in international politics and international relations at the University of Zambia, Joseph Selisho, says formulating a legal framework compelling political parties to disclose their source of funding is pivotal in the corruption fight. Mr. Selisho indicates that it is difficult currently for political parties to reveal their source of funding because there are no laws prescribed.
The Registrar of Societies Act, which registers all political parties, in itself there's no obligation of disclosing the financing arrangements unless the disclosure by the Registrar of Societies is requested by the sources, is that you prevent corrupt activities, illicit activities that injure public policy. The citizens must have confidence in parties and to know where they are getting their money, so that you create trust, transparency in the system, so they're able to choose the right individuals that will ensure that their policies are adhered to.
Nelson Zulu for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Today the IG is responding very well to communicate to the people of Zambia. One of the communication which we demanded from the institution of the police, when some people in opposition and stakeholders were talking that the government of the UPND is brutalizing citizens. And for us, it became a question because we knew that the police are not brutalized by somebody, but the police were allowing a propaganda to go into the minds of the people, minus rebutting that statement. But now, from our advice and our opinion, which we gave to the IG, Today we are happy that he's responding to the people of Zambia and communicating to the people of Zambia, and that's what we wanted. The police are there to protect the lives of the people and the property of this country. So for us as UPND, young people across the country, we are happy that the IG and all the police now are able to communicate to the people of Zambia daily, so that the people should have more trust on the police and institution itself than denting the name of the UPND and President Hakainde Hichilema. For us as young people of UPND, we have the mandate to ensure that we do and check what is happening on the ground and communicate to our leaders. Again, I want also to appreciate the IG that he has identified as the police that there are certain police officers who are junkies, who are trying by all means to dent the police institutions. I therefore again to appeal to the police command that such individuals, sir, it is time we identify them through your office also, that they can go for fresher courses.
For more than 20 years, these retirees have been knocking on the doors of government ministries demanding that they be paid their terminal benefits, which they claim they have not been fully paid by various administrations that have governed the country. And since the United Party for National Development, UPND, took over office in August of 2021, it has released a total of 2.6 billion kwacha to pay all retirees under the Public Service Pension Fund and 3 million kwacha for retirees under the Local Government Authorities Superannuation Fund, with an addition of 1 billion kwacha in the 2022 national budget for PSPF retirees. But despite all these efforts, these voluntary separatees of 1999 seem not to have benefited from the funds. Minister of Justice Mlambo Haimbe has however appealed to the retirees to desist from protesting at his offices and says there is a better way their concerns can be addressed.
To take the opportunity to urge all those our citizens who have a dispute of one sort or the other against the state not to undertake that sort of activity, because it is disruptive, and at the end of the day you cannot achieve a desired outcome through trying to force the hand of those who are given the duty of determining some of these matters. It's a reassurance that we continue to look at these matters in the interest of all those involved, and so to come and protest in the manner that is done is not in their best interest.
Meanwhile, the Justice Minister has warned that the law will take its course on all those who will be found wanting in the recently released Financial Trends Report, which has indicated suspicious transactions for the financial year ending 2022 valid at 5.9 billion kwacha.
The issues that it has reported in its report have been submitted to the law enforcement agencies for them to be addressed, and we will leave no stone unturned, regardless of the period in which or the individuals involved in this increase in illicit financial flows. The law will take its course, and that is a promise that has been made from His Excellency the President himself.
The minister has also disputed allegations that government is plotting to make the Kawambo constituency seat vacant by raising legal concerns against its lawmaker, Nixon Chilangwa.
The absence of Mr. Chilangwa for in excess of 20, of Honorable Chilangwa, beg pardon, for in excess of 20 sittings of the House is a misconduct that warrants the declaration of his seat as having become vacant. It is only the National Assembly that will determine that question, and that process is underway. For any further detail, of course, the National Assembly will be able to give guidance. So there is no aspect of the ruling party trying to cause a by-election. In fact, as a ruling party, we are on record as abhorring by-elections.
Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Welcome back. You are watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and interesting stories we were looking at during the Zooming the Headlines segment. And interesting enough, in studio we've been joined by our guest for the day, who is Jay Banda, and also the leader of independence in the National Assembly, and he is the Petauke Central Member of Parliament, to help us discuss various issues pertaining to governance, as well as a particular interest in the issues pertaining to Petauke Central, as well as topical issues happening in the country. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thanks a lot. Good morning to you. And good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you. And let me also extend the greetings to the viewers on Camnet TV, and also the viewers on Facebook page on Honorable Emmanuel J. Banda as page. Good morning, everyone, and you're most welcome to take part in this program. Thank you.
Interesting. Just to get the ball rolling, Honorable, we'll ask a branch question that we ask each and every member of Parliament who have hosted on this platform, and this is where we get to, first of all, get to know your development trajectory, given that now that we have the expanded Constituency Development Fund, the CDF, which is to a tune of 28.3 million kwacha, and how are you utilizing this? We understand that previously we also had 25.7 million kwacha. Is that making logical sense in Petauke? Are the people seeing the projects?
Yeah, thanks a lot. CDF, firstly, let me take this opportunity, and I'll be doing all that. CDF was introduced in our country in 1995 by the MMD government. And all these governments, and we have been seeing from 1995 to date, we have been seeing change of government. And each government, when they come, they always increase. It has been increasing. Remember when it started in 1995, it started at 30,000 kwacha. It was the MPs complained to the president that you, when you're moving when you come to visit our constituencies, you are giving people money, which used to be called splash funds. So from there, that's how they had passed a law to say there should be CDF. Even in Kenya, it has been well utilized. Seeing what the members of parliament, when they go and do benchmarking in Kenya, doing what, they see how it is. But here, this is when we are learning now, when the New Dawn government, that we increased it for more than 100%, from 1.6 to 25.7 million. That was in 2022. Again, 2023, it was increased from 25.7 million to 28.3 million. So this increment, it's supposed to benefit the Zambian people back in the grassroots, which means now things have been decentralized from the central government to the local government, to the people, back to the people down there. But the roadmap of the president, by increasing that CDF, and also the roadmap for the members of parliament, those who have done benchmark, who have gone to different countries where this CDF has been used. It's not the same, they don't have the same roadmap with those presidential appointees. For example, the district commissioners, PSS, and also ministers. You know, ministers, they don't go for committees. That's why I feel pity for them. They don't go for committees for benchmarking. Everything. But I wish, I'm sure, I'm going to push a private members' motion in parliament and in camera, not in camera, so that we can discuss, we can be including these ministers. They should be going in for benchmarking in other countries like Kenya, like other countries, like especially the provincial ministers. Or maybe the president should call the provincial ministers, the DCs and the PSS. He should explain to them, to say, this is the roadmap, this is the way CDF is being utilized, because there's conflict between the member of parliament and the executive in the districts. So this is the issue which is supposed to be addressed. But I'm sure the day before yesterday, Madam Speaker issued a very good statement. Which says that I'm sure I can play it on my phone so that maybe all of us we can understand. But I'll leave a clip with you so that I can leave a clip with you so that you can play it, listen to it.
Emphasis, I would urge all honorable members of parliament to be involved in the CDF, because CDF is just Constituency Development Fund. It's meant for members of parliament to work with the community. So let's not shun it and give it away our responsibilities. Where we see that people are taking over, we should put our foot down.
So I'm sure you have heard, because Madam Speaker has been in different countries to see how CDF is being used. It's only for that's why it's called Constituency Development Fund. It's not Executive Development Fund. So it's merely for the MP to push them. To push the development to the people who elected the MP, who elected the council chairman, who elected those councillors, who elected the president. So this money, now the people they misunderstand it, the executive. When I go to the constituents to say, me, I'm independent. When I go to the constituents, I'll say, oh, the president gave me this CDF. And using this CDF, I've done this project. I've done, let's say, 20 projects. And then they'll say, no, you are claiming that this is your money. You should start saying that the president has done this and this and this. No. It's not my job. Though that's a job now of the political party to say or to be campaigning of the president on the radio. Not me as a member of parliament. Me, I'll just say the executive and the president gave me this amount. And I've utilized it, this and this and this. I've built this and this. I won't say the government have built, but I'll say I've built using the money which I was given by the government. But not going on the ground to start campaigning. Because that means I'm campaigning. Unless if let's say I'm on radio in my constituency, then I'm explaining those things. Yes, they should also give me certain amount to say, okay, go and campaign for us. But without that, I only mention government and the government who have released that CDF and me, what I've done using that CDF. Full stop. So now, those people, the cadres and the other people, they don't feel good because of that.
The script that you played for us,
yes.
The speaker said, if you feel that there are people that are trying to take over CDF, put your foot down. We have seen the UPND CEO, Batuke Menda, going around and inspecting CDF projects. Some stakeholders have raised concerns about this move. What do you make of this?
Yeah, sometimes that's why in parliament when you come, Madam Speaker knows that I'm a researcher. I've declared myself, I'm a researcher. I've researched this about this. And the outcomes from the research, I'm sure the Zambian people today, they will be able now to hear the research from this. The president, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, is the president for two organizations. He's the president for the political party, and is the president for the government, which is the executive. And in the government, he's got the high organ, which is the cabinet. And in the political party, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema has got the high organ, which is NMC. That's how they call it, NMC. Then this NMC, it's also there, it acts like a cabinet in the political party. Their job is to mobilize the political party on the ground. And the executive, the cabinet, their job is to organize things in the executive. So now, if you see this organ overlapping, going to do the function of this organ, which means, to me, I call it's a vote of no confidence to the cabinet. So it's like this now, the NMC, they have seen that the cabinet is not working. That's why now the high organ on the political party, they're jumping the bridge to come and start doing the job of the executive. So I'm sure the SG should analyze this, what I've said today, because I'm sure the executive, they're not happy. It's only that those ministers, they're scared to say, him this side also, is also maybe, is the one who can adopt them. That's why they don't want to come out. But I can assure you to say, they're not happy. Because that one, which means this, the SG, is telling the president, indirect, to say the ministers are not working. Can you remove these ministers, maybe as we take over as the political party? So that the NMC should have two jobs, in the cabinet and in the NMC. So we should differentiate this, because I've been in the political party. I've served in the political party. I've served before in the political party, and I understand. I conducted the research on the way cabinet is supposed to work. So that one which the SG is doing is saying that all the people the president he appointed, they are not working. That's why he's doing that. So immediately when they start functioning, you will never see the SG or crossing the bridge. The SG will concentrate. When the SG goes into the district, when the SG goes into the constituency, his job is to mobilize the party, not doing the job of the executive. Because the job of the executive, the president has appointed people in the executive. So that's my outcome from my research. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, Mr. Banda, interesting enough, on this platform we have been receiving a lot of feedback pertaining to the high cost of living. We don't know how the people of Petauke are receiving that. Are the people of Petauke happy with the current price of menu? Are the people of Petauke happy with the prices of fertilizer and other things? Tell us, because most of the people who call this platform say things are not as good. Do you speak for them on that subject?
Yeah, I do speak for them. Me, I'm an independent, and I promised the president when I was taking oath to say, I'll pay allegiance to you, but I'll call a spade a spade. If something is not going on well, I need to speak, because the people elected me to talk on their behalf, because they can't manage to come from Petauke, all of them, the 100,000 people from, more than 100,000 people from Petauke, they can't manage to come to Lusaka to talk on themselves. That's why they had entrusted me so that I can be talking on their behalf. Yes, the cost of living, as we're talking right now, it's high. And the reason, I'm sure I feel pity for the president. I feel pity for the president. Because he's a president, according to my research, he's a president for two organs, which is the political party and the executive. But these two, they don't work together. So these people from this side, they're always overlapping. So now when they overlap, which means automatically, these people, they won't work freely. As a result, they won't deliver. And as a result, there will be a lot of people now on the ground, they'll be suffering.
Do you think that would be a motivation to say, let's take up our responsibility because someone wants to do our job?
No. Remember, the SG is also the CEO of the political party. And the political party is the one who signs the adoption for a minister to be adopted, to come again to parliament. So, are you sure the minister can even come here on this platform?
You are saying Wafera Mukati?
Yes, Wafera Mukati. Are you sure the minister can come on this platform and say the SG what is doing is not good? They are scared. They won't be adopted. So those are the things. So because of that, they'll stop working. They'll just freeze. And as they freeze, which means the executive now, they are failing to deliver, the people who suffer. Have you seen? Not that the head there is failing to do things, no. But he should now maybe take advantage of my research, the outcome of this research, that things are not good because of these two organs, which is superseding. Yeah.
What you keep on referring to the research.
Yeah.
What was this research about? What did you look at entirely in this particular research?
Entirely. High cost of living. Yeah, when I looked at the high cost of living, I said, what is delaying these things? Because, you know, the president has released the money in the constituents. The president, in those constituencies, there is youth empowerment, women empowerment. But that money is not being utilized. That money is just sitting in the account. And the banks are making profit every day, interest. They are making profit over the same money. So in circulation, there is no money. Because money is just packed in the bank. But the president is there in State House. He knows to say, I've released the money, it has gone. It's now in circulation. But in circulation, there's no money. But who is causing that? It's now this organ now. This organ, because of the fight between these two organs, that money, it's being just stuck. It's not being utilized.
Are you attributing the same to the high cost of minimum?
Yes, because look, the same money, if people were doing business, if let's say that money, the president released the money for 2022. I'll give you an example for Petauke Central Constituency. For 2022, CDF Empowerment Fund is still sitting in the account. But this is 2023. As you said, so which means if now the executive were working freely without politicizing things, this money, are you telling me it can take a year without giving to people? So that in the circulation there should be money? Have you said? So this is the truth which some of the people, they don't want to face. They don't want to tell. And the president should wake up. Because I can tell you to say, people on the ground, they are not happy because there's no money in the circulation. But him, from State House, he has sent money in all the constituencies so that in circulation there should be money. But there's just certain people who have hoarded that money at ransom. That's why sometimes I say to say, yes, the opposition can be decampaigning the president. But the people he entrusted, he appointed to say they help him, they're the ones decampaigning him. Because look at this. The president has sent money so that in the circulation there should be money. But someone is failing to release that money in let's say in Rwapura. Someone is sitting on it that in circulation there should be money. Which means those people in the grassroots, if there is no money in the circulation, which means automatically you are going to experience high cost of living. Yeah, so when you experience high cost of living, those people, they'll be blaming who? They'll be blaming the president because they don't know how money trickles down. Because go to Rwapura in Chienge, go in Rwapura in Kaputa where the Minister of Youth comes from. They don't know to say the money maybe it was released by the president for CDF because they haven't utilized it. They haven't seen that money. But that money may be sitting in Kaputa Town Council. If you say, but now, for people now there, they're sitting with it, you can imagine, from 2022, This is 2023. There's no money in circulation, but the president released that money in 2022, that in circulation there should be money. So how do you expect farmers, those who had applied for that loan so that they can buy fertilizer, so that they can be bumper harvest?
But Mr. Banda, one of the arguments would be that people won't even see the president. First of all, they will see you as a parliamentarian and the president.
No, for me...
Because they'll say, Mr. Banda, what is happening in the constituency? They will also blame you just like they blame the president, and not the ministers.
Okay, look, me, immediately when the money comes, I usually go on radio in my constituency. I'll say the money has come. Immediately when we approve, when we take the minister, Honorable Galing Hombo, when he signs, I always go to the constituency to say the minister has approved, or the CDF committee has approved, the minister has approved. Now it's about the implementation of the executive, who are the civil servants. So which means my job is tied up. So I can't go now there to start signing on the documents myself. No. Which means just after my office, I'll be going to the court because abuse of authority. I don't want that.
To summarize it, do you feel partly the council and the executive are frustrating the CDF? To summarize it.
No, not the council. Don't blame the council, because the council there, all the civil servants in the province, they are being supervised by the controlling officer, who is the PS. So the PS, when, for example, I'll tell you in my constituency, you find that things were approved, and then even the contractor was on site. Even we wanted to start grading. We wanted, I'm sure you saw in the house I raised on the vice president questioning time, that other Friday. I asked our honor, the vice president, where we wanted to hand over the school infrastructure to the children who are learning under the tree. We wanted to hand over. But the minister from the province called the council to say, don't hand over those schools. If you see? So now who is frustrating?
So you feel the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development?
No, not the Minister of Local Government. It was the provincial minister. Yes. Because the provincial minister is the MP. And the CDF guidelines are very clear. When you finish building anything under CDF, the CDF committee will sit and then will choose, will write the invitation under council to invite people to come and commission. Not the minister to choose who to be invited, but it's the CDF committee. And the CDF, the guidelines are very clear, whereby even the minister has got those CDF because he's also an MP. But he goes against those he goes against the guidelines, because the guidelines are like constitution. So you can't move the country without following the constitution. So you can't also be a minister and then put the guidelines aside.
Interesting. Now,
yeah,
our dear viewers, in case you're just joining us, you are watching the Camnet Breakfast Show, and in conversation we have Mr. J. Banda. He is a Petauke Central Member of Parliament. He is also the leader of Independence in Parliament, and we are discussing current affairs and as well as issues bordering on his constituency. And in case you want to join the conversation, you can do so, and also leave us a message, and we'll gladly get to listen to you. We have some of the people who are also following us on Facebook who are saying, we have Pretty Mumu who is saying good morning. We have Natasha Joseph saying good morning. Thanks Dimwanza says good morning. Also Malapa also says good morning. And Daniel also says PowerPoints, Mr. JJ Banda. And Martin Kayembo also says good morning. And Malapa still following there. And we are glad that you are following us on Facebook. Now we pick this call. Hello, you are through to the breakfast show. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Fine, and how are you, Mr. Mukuma?
Yes, thank you very much. Livingstone.
Livingstone, indeed. You can go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Yes, number one. JJ Banda, are you saying that the CDF is a sham. It is just a gimmick. Number two, JJ Banga, where you are seated in Parliament, if a motion is pushed against the lifting of the immunity of a good man, former President Edgar Chagwalungu, would you support it? You benefited from patriotic funds and from ECL. Are you going to betray trust and loyalty? Number three, you yourself, you are a good man. Even the way you debate in Parliament. But I wanted to watch Parliament TV. When you stand, it is like you are perceived as a person who don't know what you are doing. What is your comment on that? Thank you. God bless you.
There you have it. That is Mr. Mukuma. He is asking three pertinent questions, and we start with the one where he's asking, is CDF a sham? If a motion comes to Parliament
So I can go by one.
Just start with CDF a sham.
Yes, so CDF is not a sham. I'm sure if he had been following the program, I'm sure I was when we started, I said to say CDF was introduced in 1995. And there have been government until to date. And all this government, they have been increasing it. Because it started with a 30,000 kwacha only in 1995. But this government have been increasing it. Each and every government have been increasing this CDF. And the new Dawn government also, they increased it more than 100%. So it's not, in short, the answer, it's not, but the people who were appointed by the president, they are politicizing it, making it a sham.
There was another question about the lifting of the immunity of former President ECL. Would you support this motion if it comes to Parliament?
Yeah, I also did the research on that. You know, when I look at the president Zambia have from 1964 to date, we have the former president. They're supposed to be 6. But where is the former president, the first Republican president? Is that. And the reason why we're still going to have the former first president, but the reason it's us Zambians who don't want to appreciate the former leaders. Where, I'll give you an example for the second Republican president. May his soul rest in peace. Frederick Chilula, Titus Jacob. Yeah, you know, even the family, the sad people in our country, they are not being appreciated. You know, when you serve, even me, when I serve as a member of parliament, even if I come out, it's like our former MP for Petaoke, Honorable Dora Sivea. In Petaoke, we still want to protect her. Even me, it's my job to protect Honorable Dora Sivea for the good job we did to save the people of Petaoke. Because without her, I wasn't going to find them in good health. But they were in good health, I was in good health because of her. So we are supposed to appreciate these former leaders. This is why you saw me pushing a motion in Parliament which went through about the diplomatic passport. How can you grab a diplomatic passport from a former vice president who served as a former vice president of this country? Whereby he used to travel using a diplomatic passport. Immediately he comes out from office, you grab that diplomatic passport. Really? Are we appreciating our leaders? You know, the second Republican president, he died not because of the age, he was still energetic, but it's because of the mental torture us Zambian we put in the former leaders. It's not good. Let's learn now to appreciate former leaders. And I'll be the same person. When Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, his term of office expires, if anyone wants to even also to drag him, I'll be the first one also to talk against those people. Because we should learn to appreciate the leaders who have served us, especially the president. Let's stop now tormenting them. Because look, the way all the properties for former second Republican president of Zambia, Mr. Jacob Butaitas Chiruma, all the properties were grabbed. Everything, the family, they're suffering like the man never saved Zambia. This is not good. Let's learn to appreciate and to have heroes in our country. In other countries we have seen, they are even worshiping, they can even worship the former president. But here, why every day we are talking against, insulting, doing what? It's not good as Zambians. Let's change. That's why in 2026, we are asking a lot of youths to come into parliament so that we can change the narrative of politics. Not that old politics of Vindix. No. It's not good. The only people who can change that kind of politics, it's the youth. When we bring a new crop there in parliament, that's when now we can do away with it. Because I'll give you an example. When Kaunda lost power, he was taken to prison by Chiruma. When Chiruma lost power, he was taken to prison. He was taken to prison he was taken to prison by Mwanawasa. Mwanawasa died on whilst he was still a president, so no one took him to prison. Arabi was taken also. Immunity was scrapped off. But later on, Sata, may so rest in peace, realized to say what he was doing, it wasn't good. I'm sure you saw now inviting Arabi. I'm sure he even sent Arabi to Tanzania. He even sent Arabi also to go and receive Africa Cup.
Someone still wants to interact with us. Sure.
Yeah, no, let me just finalize this one. Yeah, you find that someone now went to send this one. Then he also died on what? In State House, was still in office. Then Edgar Lungu, we saw Edgar Lungu how he took care of all the former president. Now it's Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. We are also waiting to see how he's going to take care of Mr. Edgar Lungu.
Let's quickly pick another caller. We have.
And then the last question.
Hello, good morning.
We'll respond to it.
Morning.
Your name and where you're calling us from? Please go ahead and give us your question.
The question is not a question. I want just to say thank you very much to Mr. Banda. May God bless you so much with what you explaining to the nation. And to Mr. Media, these kinds of people in Cuba, these are people that we live in your front. The people who speak the truth, and when we go to the truth in mouthpiece, for what we hear, don't know. They don't even know, sometimes they don't know the truth. When they make what we come to see, the reputation they are having. So, what I can ask is this number of what are you able to speak with your first according to the Constitution of the Young in Zambia? You are the 12 of the speak to say according to the law, which will affect this wealthy authority. You don't have anyone that can speak to the president and look at what is happening. So, these 50 years fighting for having the president so that they cannot stop or to control them. That is a question I can ask you to Mr. Banda. Then the second, we've seen that the federal has come so much money. Now, when you ask the authority and fixing all the certification and people that who and we see and through journalists to honest with you, Zambian people who are not now talking is what is happening. Things have changed today, to be honest with you. Things have changed. So as you journalists, you always after the question is what kind of people who have appeared in the statement. And could we contribute to the reading because lots of people in Zambia. So that we in the trend for the people of Zambia to get in here and to get the finish. That is what the emotions do. And I should tell you what we
Thank you very much. We really do appreciate your contribution. Honorable, let's start with the previous caller before him.
Yeah.
The third question was not responded to,
Yeah.
which spoke to your relevance in Parliament.
Yeah.
And also this particular scholar has spoken of, do you have an opportunity to speak to President about some of these issues that you're raising here? And he wanted you to talk in detail about the cost of living. Quickly respond.
Yeah, thank you. You're saying the previous said that the relevance in Parliament. You know, yeah, there are some people, you know, you can view, if I'm sitting opposite to you and someone had written 6 here, if you're sitting opposite with me, that side, you'll be seeing that 6, which I'm seeing here as 9. Have you seen? But me, when someone asks you to say, what number is there down? You are going to say it's 9. Me, when someone asks me what number is there down, I'll say it's 6. Have you seen? So for them who are saying that it's irrelevant, I don't think I'm irrelevant. That's not, I don't think so, because when we come to Parliament, I've scored a lot of things compared to other MPs. I've pushed motions which have gone through. I've changed things. Let's say, ask him also to go on Parliament TV. You see people, or you see someone interpreting. It's because of me. Who raised those matters? So if I'm irrelevant, I wonder how someone who is irrelevant can be pushing things which can be changing the welfare of the people in our country.
Yeah, so it didn't necessarily mean that you're irrelevant. You wanted to say most of your people, your colleagues would think when you're standing up to speak up for the people, may like to trivialize you. They don't like to take you like seriously.
Okay.
But that didn't mean that you're irrelevant.
Okay. Yeah. So now coming to that, you know, me, the people who groom me politically, sorry to say this, but it's also on the right or not. Yeah, people who groom me politically, they told me to say, when you stand up as a leader, when you want to address people, and when you want everyone to listen whatever you are talking, even the teachers in class. If you're a teacher, it also goes to them. If the pupils you are teaching, if you want everyone to listen, crack something like a joke, so that those who are sleeping, they should wake up and listen to you. So that's what I usually do in Parliament. So that at least the message I'm delivering on the floor, it should go in all the constituencies across the country. Through those MPs, because you find that there in Parliament, it's true. There are some people who are more than 78 years old there. But are you sure someone who is 75 and above can sit from 14 to 19 without dozing? He does. Because he's tired. So you need to do, they're dozing, there are some people who are dozing there. So that's why I pushed that motion, it's from the research, to say, let's give them these privileges like the diplomatic passport. It's the one which was causing people to overstay in there. Because once they come out from there, they were being demoted, scrapped off those privileges. So we said, no, let's give them these privileges so that now they can retire peace-free. So now when I stand, I usually crack some jokes so that everyone should wake up.
Now,
those who are dozing, you find that now they wake up, they will start laughing, then immediately they finish laughing, Then I'll start explaining, and then my message will be delivered nicely.
And that has worked for you.
Yes, it has worked for me, because number of the things I've gone through in Parliament.
And also, I want you to respond to the other question on the cost of living. We also have Perez Banda, who is saying, good morning from Lusaka Kabanana. Arapa ground bantu balira njala. We are tired. Naka CDF 1 block by 2 classes. We are dying kuno nanjala. You have done nothing but busy praising yourselves. I think this is in reference to the government.
Yeah.
But it's talking about issues pertaining to hunger.
Yeah. So the cost of living. This is the bitter truth. What I've told you today, to say these two organs, which is the president, because the president is the president of the political party, is the president of the government of Republic of Zambia. Whereby this side has got high organ, which is the cabinet, and this side has got organ, which is the NMC. But these two, the president should sit down these two, so that things can move on the ground, because things are not okay, my colleagues on the ground. There is no money in the circulation. But the president has put money, has released money to be thrown in the circulation. But those people now, who are mandatory to release that money in those provinces, they are sitting on it. So it's a job of the minister of the province. He's supposed to wake up and start checking these technocrats in the council. Have you released the money there in the circulation? The president has released the money. Why are you still keeping money? But the minister is sleeping. They are sleeping ministers. But I don't know, maybe they are sleeping the provincial ministers, maybe because they are scared of this organ, which I've said that these organs are not working hand in hand. It's like they're doing a vote of no confidence to this organ.
Yeah. I'm going to also ask you another.
In short, indeed, there's no money in the circulation, but the president released the money, like for Petauke. The president released the money. Up to now, we are still keeping that money.
I'm going to also ask you another question at your personal level as a parliamentarian.
Yeah.
Are you someone who is going to no longer being a member, an independent member of parliament, and join the UPND in 2026?
The answer is no.
Okay.
Yeah, because someone who wants to get me, he should convince my people. My people, because it's the people who asked me to stand as an independent. It wasn't me.
You did indicate earlier that you will pay allegiance to the president.
Yes, I'm paying.
Why
no, that one is joining UPND, which means, look, that's why I've told you to say we should respect these two organs.
No.
Is the president for the UPND.
The NMC gives you an adoption, Mr. Banda. What would happen?
Huh?
Is it not your responsibility to go and convince the people of Petauke to say no?
No. It's the government. It's the government and the political party. If the SG goes and mobilizes the party in Petauke and tell the people of Petauke to say no, we have seen your MP is working well, and we want to work with him. Please support him. Let's work together. What? If those people on the ground, they are convinced, then those people, they'll tell me, our son, this time around, we want you to go with this party. If you say. But I'll ask you a question. When did you see the NMC going in the district to mobilize the party apart from inspecting CDF projects?
But is it not your responsibility to say, look, the president is working so well, he has given us 28
No. There, look now. I'm a politician. Look,
I've seen people working.
I'm a politician. I'm a politician. If I'm doing that, which means by 2026, it won't be JJ to decide to talk to the people. It will be them now, which means my job will be relevant now to them, because which means I've done what I can supposed to do for a political party in 2026.
In this country, Mr. Banda, also your perspective, we have seen a lot of members of parliament also crying foul pertaining to issue of political victimization. And you are also a parliamentarian and a leader for that matter for independence in the House. Now, we have seen your colleague among them abscond the parliament for close to 2 weeks, if not, Mr. Nixon Chilangwa, and he handed himself to the police. and the predicament pertaining to the revocation of police bond, among other issues. Now, what do you have to say about that, those issues that are unfolding in the political landscape?
Yeah, thanks a lot. This is what I'm saying to say, you know, in Zambia, let's respect the leaders we put as Zambians. And also, it's also up to us leaders also to give a good example to people so that we should earn that respect. The issue of Honorable Nixon Chilangwa, to me, it's a unique issue. Because I'm sure those who wants to call names, who wants to call what, but let's look also in this angle. You know, Zambia, the president said that he wants everyone to participate in the governing, all sort of organization to participate in the governing of this country. And when you go to parliament there, Honorable Nixon Chilangwa is the only person, MP, representing persons with disability. And the persons with disability, they should be given a certain privileges.
Including lawlessness.
Look, not lawlessness. If me, I become the president today, if I was given just 2 days to be a president, what I would do, the people living with a disability, immediately when he finishes school, which means he finishes grade 12, which means he's got a slot at University of Zambia. Immediately when he finishes college at University of Zambia, immediately automatically he's going to have a slot in government as a government worker. Because it's not easy. It's not the fault of that person to be the way he is. Yes, also they're supposed to be respected. They're supposed to respect themselves and follow the law of law. But also, let's also try also, you know, for someone, it's difficult also, we should also consider, you were born 100%. But me, everything here, when you look at me here, I'm a person with a disability because I don't have a tooth. But I'm not happy. Look, I've got that feeling. Look, yes, look first, I'm coming. I've got that feeling to say, my friend is 100%. God gave him all the teeth. But me, I don't have. It will be paining me, and I won't be thinking the way you be thinking. Yes. So I'll have that pain whereby even if you talk to me in a joking way, the way I'll answer you, like maybe you have injured me, maybe you're laughing at me because I don't have the tooth. So we should also know how to treat these people, because they have got also a lot of questions to say. I can have got also a lot of questions to say, my friend here was given all the teeth. But what about me? What happened? Does God hate me? No, does what happened? Okay, what did my parents never did? If you say so, that question also, it also tormenting those people emotionally. So we should also find the way how to treat them. If you say, because you know it's difficult for a person living with a disability to manage to go to parliament than being just appointed, nominated. You know, someone who had everything lost and that person won. So we should also, that's why I'm saying it's a special case. To me, it's a special case. So for that one, also, we should handle it nicely. We should handle it nicely, looking at the organization where it's coming from, because Honorable Nixon Chilangwa, I'll tell you, he's like a president to persons living with a disability. Have you seen? The whole country, even the world, is looking at him as a person living with disability. And he's the president for all the persons living with a disability, because he's the one where, in the house where they're making laws, he's the one representing them. So it's like they praise him. So we might, that's what I'm saying, his case, he's supposed to be handled with care.
Okay, indeed, that's taken. We can't wind up our conversation as you conclude, Mr. Banda, with this issue where we are seeing that there is purported intentions to ensure that members of parliament put up a motion to reintroduce the Ministry of Religious Affairs and National Guidance. Give us details on that as you conclude.
Maybe in your conclusions as well, we have quite a number of messages that have come through. So Tila Chansa says, Wapya Mundwanga, I'm happy with your analysis on cabinet versus NMC. The other message, there are a lot of messages, but I'm just trying to pick out, work hand in hand to help your fellow hardcore politicians, JJ. You are strong. I trust you forget about these. I trust you forget about these Venamao's Sampa, weak soldiers who believe in PF, their uncle's party. Thank you very much. There's another one that I wanted you to respond to. Anyways, we will Honorable, thank you very much for your good analysis. Has anything changed yet economically after the restructuring, after the debt restructuring? This is Andrew Kamanga from...
Yeah, so I'll start first with the debt restructuring, because this is also after seeing what happened, how people went to receive the president, what I started, you know, at night I don't sleep. I always going through the books, going through what, doing the research, like over the weekend. So I went to airport where the president was received. When he came back, I went to the people, those who went to receive the president, then hear their views. So it was part of the research also to find out what is this debt restructuring. Have you seen this debt restructuring? Yes, it's a good thing, but the way the government, they brought it back to our country, it will injure them one day. It will injure them badly. So they should now pull up their stockings and explain to people about this debt restructuring. Because according to my research, the people, what they know is that this debt restructuring is that now government has been given money, not has been given you break to say, hold on, can you do your business well, and then you start paying me maybe in 2026? No, but them, everyone, those who went to the airport, they knew to say, Parliament now, the president has brought 6 billion plus the money in the country. That's why you saw now members of the political party who went to receive the president, they were at the secretariat. In social media, it was everywhere demanding money to say, let's have our share. So this now, the government has got a very big job now to go and explain to the people the truth. Because right now when you come to Petauke, what the people of Petauke knows is that now government has got a lot of money. Our roads, because even in parliament, all the MPs, we started celebrating without explaining to the people. We said that, no, the roads now will be done. No, this will be done because now government has got a lot of money. No, it's not about money. We need now to be also, we can't just do anything because we are also just given time to say, we have given you time not to pay now, but you put your house in order until these 3 years, then you can start paying. Not that you have got money. But now the narrative to people is that government has come now with a lot of money from debt restructuring, which will injure now in 2026. They will be asked to say, you said that you brought 6.6 billion plus in the country. What have you done? So if he raises the road for Vubwi, it won't be done. The road for Chadiza, it won't be done. Because the people of Vubwi, the people of Chadiza, people of Chasefu, people of Chama, people of Rusangazi, what they know is that now government has the money and the bituminous road will be done. Have you seen? That's why they saw even the MPs celebrating. Yes, now everything will be done.
Wanda, unfortunately, you have gone to explain the debt structuring before telling us the religious affairs.
Yeah, so the religious affairs now. The religious affairs, anyway, the good part is that I'm the mover of that motion. I'm the mover. So
what will
next
happen if they refuse those to support?
No, I'm coming. I'm the mover. And this, I was doing a research because I'm sure in politics there's an issue of homosexual in our country, which as politicians, we are pointing fingers at each other. No, it's this one. No, it's this one. No, it's this one. And as also politicians, we are pointing fingers to each other to say, no, this one is a Satanist. No, this one is what? No, Zambia is a Christian nation. How can we have Satanists? How can we have what? Then the first thing which I'll tell you, in Zambia we have got minerals. Then when we have got minerals, that's why we say that let's have the Minister of Mines to look after our minerals. So Zambia is a Christian nation. So we should have the ministry to look after the Christian nation, the Christian nation and the Christianity values. Everything. You saw what was happening in the past few weeks, where the church and the ruling party will call the church leaders, no, Lucifers, no, what. But now, who can control that? Even in parliament, where can we direct that to say, this person is calling the priest a Lucifer? Where can we direct that? We need a minister who can sit down those people, who can sit down with those Christianity. So now also, it will also put to rest, because those people who are going to shoot this motion, which means they're the ones who are doing what? They're the ones who are bringing homosexual in our country. Those people who are going to shoot motion, which means they are Satanists. They are not Christian. Because I don't expect any Christian in parliament to shoot this motion.
There you have it. This is where we have to call it a day on the Camnet Breakfast Show. We had Honorable J. Banda, Petauke Central Member of Parliament and also leader of independence. Is the whip for independence in the National Assembly of Zambia. We discussed quite a number of issues, and unfortunately time is not on our side, and want to thank you, our dear viewers, those of you who managed to send us messages on our Facebook page, as well as those of you who managed to call in studio. We could not pick every call because we wanted to make sure that our guest is given ample time to explain matters. From myself, Patrick Soko, and my co-host, Mako Kwakozi, this is where we have to call it a day. Remember to always keep it on Camnet TV, because Camnet TV is not just another channel.